Hi, this is James, and I'm just giving a little warning here that I thought that the microphone in my headphones would be suitable for the task at hand here, and it was not. So the audio on mine end is going to be a little rough, but thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy.
Oh, that changed. Okay, there it
Hmm.
is.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
got a little weird. I'm gonna have to clip some of this at the front.
Yee.
uh, yeah, intros.
This,
We can do this.
this is your
Yo, what's
idea,
up?
James. Lead it.
It's your boy Man T Eddie here with Big Squeeze. What's good?
Please. Hate you.
Uh, uh, I'm James.
I'm Greg.
I guess this
Um,
is the premiere episode of the You Missing Out podcast.
you're missing out, boy.
Missing
Um,
out.
I think one thing I'd like to mention is kind of both of our backgrounds
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
yeah.
why we're doing this.
I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, we both just really like music. Like that's the broad statement of the whole thing, and I
Yeah,
think, but
but
it tastes that kind of lead us to more like the fringes of music. You
but
know, like
I don't know if it's selfish talking. I think one thing that makes like our interaction special with how we talk about music is the deep anus dive. We go into every little fucking detail.
yeah, we swan dive right into that butthole, man.
Oh
Just
yeah.
straight.
No, we go under every genre, every artist that we are like, yo, you need to hear this. Like they play this chord, double E minor. I don't even know chords and shit. But but
Yeah,
like
you ain't gonna be getting any music theory out of me, but
oh yeah, no. But at the same time, like it's always I think it's been fun with us going back and forth with how we're looking so deeply into why a song was made, how they made it, what how its theatrics go from the song itself to the wordplay to maybe if there's any visuals from a music video or live performance of it or something like that. Like it all intertwines into this like sometimes this mind blowing thing where you're like, how the hell did someone come up with this?
yeah, no, it's like, and I feel like sometimes the worst part of that is with especially with the internet being what it is today, and the amount of people who are able to produce content is just so much easier to make than it was 20 years ago. A lot
Yeah,
of people have a lot of talent who have a lot to say, just don't really come up, you know.
yeah.
So that's
No,
what
that
those went into this.
no, it's true. Especially like with me playing in a little band in the Richmond scene, and you're seeing all these other bands, whether they're touring from other places or they're other local Richmond bands that I was able to play with. You kind of realize like, whoa, these are the people like that are doing some amazing things
Oh
that
yeah, like doing
aren't.
some shit that
Yeah,
like because I mean, we've seen so many great bands out in Richmond. I unfortunately do not live in. I mean, I'm not gonna say unfortunately. I like where I'm in now. I
nah.
don't live there now. Um, but I did get a good taste of the punk scene in Richmond, and I
Mm.
a lot of cool underground bands. And that's another reason why I want to. I think about bands like yours, Railgun, by the way, for anybody listening. Railgun RVA, check them out.
Yeah.
But no, it's like I see guys like you and like bands like Cybridge Wind, Kill the Druid,
Oh,
Black Matter Device,
fucking Toxic Moxie.
uh,
Sun Eater's no longer a part of it, but Sun Eater was insanity. Um,
Black Acid Ritual.
Black Acid
There's like
Ritual, yep. What was
fantastic.
that one band we saw open for Zealand Art, or was it Rusted Root or something like that?
Uh, Among the
The
Rocks and
Among the
was
Rocks and Root. Holy
yeah,
hell, yes, they were insane.
and 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 heavy noise, man,
Yep.
fantastic. Oh man, but I think we should probably get into the artist we're actually going to talk about today.
Yeah, and it's funny because we're talking about all these like heavier, funkier, punkier bands, and the first one we're going to talk about is actually like a fucking dream pop country artist.
Yeah. So the first musician on our uh, in our radar for this little experience we're providing is Honey Harper, a country pop post punk influenced musician out of He comes from Atlanta, Georgia, if I remember correctly, and he's currently living in London.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, he just came out with his album a couple weeks ago, Star Maker.
Hmm.
You were the one to introduce me into this one, so
So
where did
I on Reddit, there's a thread on there called "Listen to This," and sometimes it gets kind of replayed with songs that everyone already knows, but that one caught my eye because it was listed as dream pop country, and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard those genres combined. At
yeah,
least I don't think I have. Um, so I was like, man, let me get to listen to it, and they featured a song called "In Light of Us,"
In Light of
and
Us is a fantastic fucking
it,
track. It
yeah,
catches the eye.
no, that single off of Star Maker is a perfect introductory, and I mean, it's technically the first song on the album. They have an introduction song.
Green
Um,
Shadows.
yeah, Green Shadows, and it definitely paints the mood for the album. But In Light of Us really does
That's
a great job of putting that whole album into a good perspective.
yeah.
Hey, I know
That's,
you.
my girlfriend just walked into the room. In the
Hello.
background.
Yeah.
But no, like In Light of Us is really like just that's gonna be the track that really catches anyone who listens to this album. And honestly, if you haven't listened to this album, you should because I've just never heard something that is so sweet but lonely at the same time. And it's a very emotional experience because when you first suggested this artist to me, I was at work
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, like we were talking about doing this podcast, you suggested this artist, and I throw it on, and man, for about 30 minutes on my lunch break, I forgot where the fuck I was. Like, it took me, it pulls you in like hardcore.
It really does. Like I was at work when I was browsing through and listening to it as well, and I won't say it like changed me drastically. It didn't touch me like Jesus or nothing, but it definitely like pulled me out of the headspace I was in and brought me into that world of that album. Like it is something in at least for myself, I'm not the biggest country fan, but I do appreciate all the old heads. I appreciate the Dolly Partons, the Kenny Rogers, rest in peace, just passed yesterday. Um, and it's people like that where it's like it felt like there was more substance. It felt like there was more singing and talking about actual trauma and
Real life
future
experience.
loves and through life experiences, and then the feelings with those real life experiences, other than party, trucks, beer,
Red
mom's
Solo.
house, red soda cup, I'll fill you up. I would.
Oh,
Can we do a version of that, but it's Louis Armstrong singing it? Real quick, before we go deep into it, the reason I bring up like at least with my lack of affinity with country is it when I listened to it first, and then he has a short description on Spotify
yeah.
that really brought it home, and I'll read a tidbit of it. First off, the album itself is primarily about the journey to create it. Its self awareness is largely the result of Harper's inner monologues about his fear of failure, desire for success, and the toll that journey has taken on him and his loved ones. It is an attempt at honesty through the veil of a country singer lost in the stars. And on Star Maker, it seeks to revitalize country music for people who don't like country music. And
That's
that is
exactly.
exactly what happened. Like, if
Well,
you hated country music, you could listen to this and be like, damn, I gotta give it a try.
yeah. And that was like the big thing for me. Because I mean, my earliest experience with country music is like well, it's bands like Big and Rich, the Dixie Chicks. I mean, not necessarily bad bands, but definitely
Mm-hmm.
didn't vibe with me. And it just country never found a place. I never found a place in country that I really felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I one of the things I love so much about Honey Harper and this album in particular. It's very inviting, and the fact
Yes.
that a lot of countries sees like this harsh sort of like masculine mentality, like I'm a man, I drive a big truck and I have gun,
And
gun, and
if it's not the masculine, then it's the the nationalist kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I don't personally feel like there's anything wrong with being proud of the country you're from and everything, wanting to sing about it or whatever. But like, there's that overstepping point where it's like there's more to you than just where you were born.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's another thing that this album does so well is
Yeah.
again the point that the album is about his feelings making the album.
Yeah.
That is like a super meta message on its own. You know, it's like
Well,
he
it's
made
kind of cool. You
it,
can see how passionate he is about it. Like
like,
he's really like in depth this whole time.
and it's not just how positive he is. It's definitely like each song or a lot, especially like again in the light of us, it gives that no look back kind of thing. And it's like
Yeah.
you can tell those tinges of regrets of like, hey, am I doing the right thing here? I want to do this, but how is it affecting the rest of my life and everything? And
Yeah.
but you can tell as it goes on, he is still moving forward with it. He's like, this is something I'm going to do no matter what.
And that sort of determination, like really, like it's admirable in a whole new light because it's like you see so many people in bands and some people just do it for fun and that's fine. Some people they talk like they have the drive and they don't. So one thing that I think is incredibly valuable to artists is having that drive and like showing it,
Mm-hmm.
putting out that work. Because I mean, this isn't his only music project. He also has the synth pop band Mood Rings, as well as a avant-garde neon pop project called Promise Keeper. And he's obviously been putting out work and doing this for a while.
Yeah, well, and
That's,
I want to do talk about that real quick, because I personally have not listened to the other projects yet. I was doing a deep dive on everything Harper has done, at least under
yeah,
that name. Um, but I cannot stress enough how amazing a mix it is to have like the what is it the sitar that long stringed guitar that makes
but
those loud yeah the that lap guitar mixed with traditional country sounds, especially like you're talking about like again think of like country in the 80s, 70s,
yeah.
80s, old school kind of tone, but then you mix in just the nice subtlest synth, and it's enough to be like you hear it, you know it's there, but it's not going to take away from the country docile tones of it.
And like that's one thing I do like about it is because he doesn't lean too hard into those country tones, especially in his voice. It's
Yeah,
like so like that sharp twang can be really off-putting if it's not something
it
that
can.
you've always.
Well,
But
one funny thing with that voice too is he doesn't speak like that whatsoever. He has like no country accent in his natural speaking voice, and I respect that a lot.
I mean that he pulls it off really well. It does come across very genuine, which
Yeah,
I like.
no,
And
definitely.
yeah, it's nice not to have that like whole thing like hitting your ear in that like exact wrong way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like again, just even with the music, if you take away the singing, everything, the music itself is this perfectly teetering balance
Oh yeah.
of synth and lap guitar country. And it's just two things I never would have thought hear together, and it does it so nicely.
It's fucking perfect. And honestly, it's just like, especially with the dynamic we're at now, where more people in, I guess you would say, alternative scenes are starting to come and accept country a little bit more, with the popularity of artists like Lil Nas X with his country infused rap music,
Mm,
and I mean, country and pop have been fused before with groups like Florida Georgia Line, but this is actually,
yeah, exactly. Well,
yeah,
because there's that difference between you have in almost every genre is going through this issue where there's like an arena radio friendly
yeah.
style of sound where it's a basic 4/4 stomp and clap or just something where there's a drop beat or just something that everyone can easily listen to, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with songs like that, but you see the oversaturating the market, and that's what I want to talk about with you know the style of country that Honey Harper's putting down versus that oversaturated arena style of country. your
Yeah.
Kenny Chesleys. Honestly, I put Dixie Girls in that too because that's what they were in that sense. Um, just all these artists where it's like, man, it's you feel like you've heard the same song over and over again if a station is on or something. It's like no one's. It doesn't feel that. I don't know. This album has a soul, and that's something I
Yeah.
feel like country has not done in a long time. Is put the soul into it.
And it's just so important for an artist to have that sort of commitment to it.
Hmm.
Because I mean, when it comes to a lot of that arena friendly, radio friendly sort of sound, it's like it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of like real emotion put into that. Because honestly, a lot of the people who are singing these songs, who are performing these songs, weren't the people who wrote them. You know.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of different paths in the music industry to make yourself successful or to simply enjoy yourself doing it. But when when it comes
I
to
mean,
like a art piece, then there's got to be something inside you for it.
there's. I mean, I can't blame anyone. We'd always talk about like, man, will we sell out? And the honest truth is, once you sign that contract or whatever, I feel like maybe you do a little bit. You kind of at someone else's whims when you're writing, and that depends on who you're signing that contract with.
Yeah,
I guess me as a consumer, and that's the only way I have to look at it is me as a consumer. I don't have to like your product if it's not something I'm gonna like. Just because it's being marketed to me doesn't mean I have to fucking buy it.
there, yeah.
Yeah. Um. Let me. Can we go back into talking about this single, "In Light of Us"? Because again, the biggest thing with that is something I hadn't heard a long time with country is that vulnerability. It's that hey, that slight hinge of maybe something's wrong, or at least
Yeah.
something went wrong, or whatever. And I think one of the best lines in that is the chorus. In the light of morning. Uh, Crap. Yeah, they actually don't have the lyrics figured out for that one because it's kind of can't quite see what he's saying there just because of
But I mean,
the overlapping things.
but
But it
but
goes on to
nothing
say, but
more than your
yeah,
own.
that one.
Yeah,
Nothing scares you more than you're on you today,
yeah.
and it's like that is it's kind of like looking back at your middle school posts on Facebook and seeing all the cringy weeb shit you posted and being like, oh yeah, I used to wear Naruto headbands and scream Rasengan in halls.
Naruto running
But
down the hallway to get to the lunchroom.
yeah, but I think even the next verse was real short. Says, "In light of us, and time will pass. My skin is dust. My future is past." And it's like I think there's that point. At least the way I translate that is he's worried about as he gets older with it, he might not be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
You
and I
know.
think that's something every musician has to face at some point in time. It's especially if they're on the verge of success, and I feel like he very much is. Like he doesn't have like a million Spotify listeners, but I can see that there's a growing fan base behind this, and I have no doubts that it's just going to keep getting bigger.
And I really hope it does, but and I want to jump to another song actually. Let me pull up the lyrics for it to be 100% correct. And it's not actually on this album, but it's one of his most popular singles. It looks like it's the song
Let
"Secret."
me
The
see if I can
song,
find it.
yeah, the song is "Secret." See, if we were prepared for this podcast, we would have had all the notes shit ready.
Preparation is for the weak.
Right. Okay.
Did you
Till I
find it?
find it. Damn it, no, I didn't know.
for anybody else's eardrums that's just been damaged, that was Greg whistling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My quality's not that good. It's a bit harsh.
Let me try this one.
Unfortunately enough, it seems like a lot of his lyrics just haven't been posted yet anywhere.
Yeah, and that's another issue. Oh man. Maybe it has those.
There's just gonna be a lot of long stretches that I'm going to have to like clip out.
Oh, he has a song called "Secret" on
Okay.
his on the EP, The Universal Country.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not that it matters to me whatsoever. It would actually make it even better to me uh, if it was hinting at sexuality.
See, I've kind of been like wondering that myself because when you look at his like, his
Yeah.
post on
Hmm.
the images, albums, and on the music videos, he does have a very non-masculine appearance, and like, you'll see like pictures of him with like his eyebrows bejeweled or something like that. Everything
Yeah.
is very shiny, sparkly, and it's very pleasing to
It's
the
a
eye.
very 80s synthwave like style aesthetic. You could probably put them in pastel colors and everything. It'd be like totally cool.
And I'm not going to be the one to sit here and like try to dig deep and figure out this guy's sexuality because that's his
No,
business.
and that's true. But I think again, for me as a listener, I'd almost want that to be a part of that song, "Secret," because a lot of those lyrics are, kind of hint at, "Hey, I am here, but you just don't know I'm here."
Okay.
It's. I wish I could find the fucking lyrics because it's super like
Next
amazing.
time, next time when we do this, we should like, if we can't find the lyrics,
Everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna try them ourselves. Genius, why have you failed us?
Mm. But yeah, no, that song is another amazing song on there as well.
Yeah. Talking about the Universal Country EP, I really enjoyed this song, SOFR.
Yeah.
Like that one a lot. I just really like the line, like, all your best friends hate you and all your worst friends.
Uh, something. Yep, there it is. See, he forgot too. I'm not the only fucking one.
It would be so nice if these were online.
Ah, this is great. Just understand, like, whoever takes the time to listen to this, like, the lyrics that Honey Harper does put out are amazing. They're super introspective.
They're really just poetic and like really sweet, but in a very sad way.
Mm.
And it's like not a lot of like, it's not selfish. I feel like is one way to say it. It's like
It
he's not
is
just
the
sad for himself,
farthest.
the other. You know, there's
I
there's
almost want to say it doesn't even sound like it's sad for other people. It's just sad situations. This is really storytelling through music by itself, without it being self-imposing, without it being self-pitying or shameful of someone else or whatever. It sounds almost like I'm sorry this had to happen, but it happened.
and it's fantastic to see someone take that sort of removed perspective from it.
Mm.
Because I mean, there's only so many times you can just listen to somebody be like, "Oh, my life is the worst. Look how much I hate myself." Like,
Exactly.
it can get really tiring at a certain point.
Yeah,
And man,
even back on Star Maker, that song "Something Relative."
Yeah.
That one, again, just beautiful tones. All these tones are just super fulfilling in the chord progression and everything. It does make you feel like it feels full while it's still
And
very light and relaxing.
yeah. And on the topic of something relative, this was the song that I listened to, and I really realized another thing I liked about him is that he's got a much wider range of metaphor and like thematic material than most other country artists that I've come across.
Hmm.
And that well, it comes from like I've heard him described as cosmic country, and I feel like that's actually a really apt term for what he's doing here.
One thing I do like about that, yeah, I've heard that term too, and it's super dope. Um, I think one thing I like about his Cosmic Country is the fact that he's like, it's not over the top space themes.
Yeah,
Because I feel like that would have gotten run into the ground real fucking quick.
yeah, it's just I think a lot of that might be a little more something that would bother us because I think we were a little more involved with a lot of these metal bands that have been doing it.
Hmm.
Like there are a lot of metal bands that are just like strictly sci-fi themed, and it can get really tiring really
Really
fast.
fast, really fast.
Because there was
But
that
like,
whole scene for a while there, and it was like, oh, cool, like widdly technical death metal. It's fun, but then after a minute, you're like, guys, just stop.
I almost want to say, as much as it does have a spacey theme to it, I almost want to say that Cosmic is more of a spiritual thing. Not saying he's a spiritual person, whether he is or not, but like again with the song "Something Relative," he's got the line said, "It's hard than painting a picture with pain, yet so easy you've lost your way in the haze once again. When I look into your eyes, there's a garden of fortune, where the true heart inherits the truth that I wanted to know." Like it's stuff that these metaphors are. I don't know. It almost reminds me of like a David Bowie kind of thing.
I had that thought myself.
Yeah,
Not
but
necessarily
not yeah,
musically. It's just this guy gives me Bowie vibes.
yeah,
Like,
not full on stargazer type Bowie, but like this kind of it makes me think he's writing these songs and like under a beautiful starry sky kind of thing, and just thinking about other people or himself.
well, see, I definitely had a very different image when I was listening to it, and I definitely get where you're coming from. But for me, it's like I just had this image of just like sitting in the passenger seat of a car and driving along this empty road, and then, like you look out the window and it's just nothing but open fields and grass and telephone poles, and it's just like,
Yeah, I can see that too.
yeah, it's
I
just
can.
like it's one of those like just from an emotional perspective, it's one of those things that makes me very as sad as it is, it's still like kind of comforting in a way.
Hmm.
And
No,
it
it's
just
it's it's a
it's out for
very
you know.
yeah, it's a very unique uh, mixture of melancholy but fulfilling
Yeah,
at the same time.
and
But
the way that his music isn't so like self-imposing or whatever. It like I feel like it's going to make it a lot easier for a lot more people to get attached to it emotionally too. Just in the fact of like the way he tells these stories in his music, it's very easy to relate to.
yeah,
And considering that he doesn't go too harsh on the country side of it, he doesn't go too harsh onto that like poppy post punk sound. I feel like this is a this album can attach itself to a lot of people really easily,
really
and
easily. Yeah.
it takes a lot of talent to be able to make something so well balanced like that.
Hmm. And it's a more popular band that I don't think we'll talk about. Just we're trying to. I think the big focus on again people that people should be listening to that just don't have enough followers yet, whatever. Like these are names that I would love to see on billboards. These are names I would love to drive past my venue and see that they're coming through this week.
Yeah,
Those are the ones I want to get notifications on when they're coming through, kind of thing. Um, there's the only other band I could compare this to, and James hasn't really listened to them because I don't think I've showed you as much. There's a
Yep.
band called that Palace that has made a beautiful melancholy album.
Yeah.
Called After Death, and there are these fulfilling chords that again they're so melancholy but they're so fulfilling. Some of the content is actually super dark,
Yeah.
but that's what Honey Harper kind of reminds me of, and it's not as Honey Harper's not as harsh as them when it comes to it. Honey Harper feels more truthful and not as opinionated, but it feels way more truthful. Like the metaphors, the similes, everything that he says in this album, Star Maker, and even in the past EPs and everything, just feel like it almost feels like he's writing in a diary.
Yeah. He's
You know?
he's not afraid to expose himself on this.
Yeah,
And
no, yeah.
but that ties back to what you were saying before, where like a lot of country just really isn't that vulnerable.
It's
And this,
not. There's definitely. I think it kind of goes into a nationalist, and then you kind of look at how countries evolved over time and everything, where it got more almost prideful.
yeah,
Which,
well, it's all about like where you come from and how you came up, and you know how all the lessons that you were taught in this small environment where you really didn't have a lot of outside exposure. So
it's not. Yeah, it's not just that, but it's like there's an essence of storytelling that's gone. You know, you listen to Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash, two of the biggest country legends. I know it's kind of a stereotypical thing, but I think they are there for a reason.
yeah,
Almost, I won't say all of their songs, but almost all of their songs had an essence of storytelling to it. You know,
oh
you could
yeah,
put the imagery in your head.
One
Um,
Piece, Boy Named Sue.
oh
Uh,
yeah, Boy and
uh,
Sue is fucking hilarious. That is an amazing song that does not get enough credit.
yeah, I do love that song. It's probably my favorite Cash song. But
Yeah, there's so much like, and I feel
Lost,
like that's gotten lost in country now. And
yeah,
it's again a super opinion of me to say because I don't listen to a lot of country, but everything I hear, it's more. I don't even know if you'd want to call them love letters because sometimes they just don't feel genuine. It just feels like maybe there's a ghostwriter out there and it didn't get passed along nicely. You know,
yeah.
you can write someone else's song and then not portray those same feelings and just kind of comes out bland.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I,
well,
mm,
that's one thing I learned about is like how like, and it's like it beyond just being like an emotional thing. There's a very physical aspect to that too. It's like when you're learning to sing, one of the things they teach you is that the expression on your face will change the sound you make. So if you're singing and you smile, it's a completely different sound from if you try to grimace or try to like form like the sorrowful expression. Like it's a completely different sound, and that comes across especially when somebody's actually feeling what they're singing.
yeah, no, well, excuse me, tired, jeez.
I feel you.
Yeah, no, for
Thank you.
sure. Um, I don't know. There's not too much else I could really say without repeating myself about Honey Harper. It's one of those. He's definitely a rare artist that it's hard to find words to explain
Yeah.
how he sounds. Like this is an artist you just need to go listen to, and that's an experience more than a book report.
Yeah. And it's well, that was one of the things I was thinking about. It's like this is kind of a rough one to start on, mainly
Mhm.
because like I figured like I thought maybe towards the end of the podcast we'll tie it up with like a pros and cons list. I have not found a single con.
No,
It,
no, and that's the
it,
thing. I can't find anything wrong. Even the old EPs are beautifully mixed. Everything is so perfectly balanced. I think,
yeah.
and I think if I had to put a con, it's that I can't understand every single word he says. But again, my ears aren't necessarily trained for twang country sound, you
Well,
know?
yeah. Sometimes it could be really hard, especially with somebody who's trying to perform something with kind of an accent to it. It's a little difficult to pick up. But Yeah,
But
it's
no.
just like this is one of those rare albums that's just golden the whole way through.
Hmm.
And there was, if anything, I'd say like if you really, really, really hate country, you might not like some of these songs. Like that's like the worst I can say about it.
Yeah.
Like
No, you
everything
really have to be completely anti-country.
you
But
have to be like looking to hate this to hate it.
yeah, exactly. I think if if you're gonna call yourself a true music connoisseur or whatever, you will give even just in light of us, you just give that one single
You'll
its
get
fair
caught.
chance. You're gonna get caught in his trap, and you're gonna be sucked into everything he does.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing what else he could do because he's just throughout Star Maker, he's shown us that he can balance all these crazy sounds from country to post punk to pop to even a theatrical sound in songs like Suzuki Dreams or
Oh man,
Star Maker.
Suzuki, because Suzuki Dreams isn't that the one that almost opens up sounding like uh what was I going to say? Almost like a Disney picture book opening, like the old
Almost, yeah.
school. Yeah, it reminds me of like the opening of what was it, Cinderella, when the book opens and it's got like this beautiful like chorus and swelling like violins and everything. It's super. Oh, it's not Suzuki Dreams, it's Secret. Actually, I'm thinking of Secret's the one that does that.
Was it Secret?
It is Secret because I remember watching him do it live, and they had the recording. He's just kind of standing there like, "It'll start in a minute, I promise."
For anyone who's listening, flames us. We're not professionals. We are just fucking nerds, and we're trying something new. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, like, but I feel like that same tone can be applied to Suzuki Dreams, Star
Hmm.
Maker. What's the other one? Something Relative even has that sort of like very theatrical sound behind it.
Hmm.
And I honestly like on that note is I would not be surprised if we start seeing this guy's music in like indie films soon enough because he's just got
I
like the for
fucking
it.
better, fucking
Because
better.
like
Everything he's made deserves to be in something. It
right, it's
deserves that limelight. It really. This is something like, again, with us not being professionals, we would full-heartedly tell you this needs to be heard.
this is exactly the kind of music that I feel like a lot of people would like if it could get that exposure.
Hmm.
And because it just touches on so many bases, it's relatable throughout, and it just sounds so fucking sweet. Like this dude's got like Honey Harper's accurate because this dude's got a voice like fucking Honey. It's just,
It really is. He really does.
oh man, like I
Yeah.
just like talking about it. I want to listen to it again because I'm just getting excited.
I'm gonna show it to my mom when we go out later. Like, mom, you gotta listen to this. This is actually really good.
I'm probably gonna make my girlfriend listen to it at some point.
Yeah. No, it's a
She just
like I
gave me a
said.
very nervous look.
No, like I said, ending because there's nothing else I can say without repeating myself. This is a fabulous artist. This is a fabulous album. Even all the backwork stuff for this artist is just fabulous. It is fucking mind blowing amazing. This is something new for the world of country, and I hope that the world of country will one day see it and embrace it because I think an artist like this could change what's become of country now.
Like I could
That's
really see this artist because like he gives me the same vibes as dudes like Lil Nas X, not just because of the country angle, but just somebody who's so willing to put themselves out there with something strange and new.
different. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the best hope is that he will be seen and that he will be embraced by the people that this might appeal the most to. But I definitely see a space for him in the alternative community with like just because he fits he just checks so many boxes and I have every belief that this dude's gonna be a success.
Hmm. No,
Everything about this dream success.
well, I guess, Honey Harper, if you are out there and you actually somehow stumble upon this and listen to it, we fucking love you. We wish you nothing but the best.
Oh my god.
Come to Washington State. Come to Richmond, Virginia. Um, we would drop everything to see you perform, man. for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. Take my money. Take all of it. What else? Rep. No, but yeah, I guess that'll be that's about it. I think we covered all the bases we planned to. So obviously this is our first go. This is definitely this is definitely our first try at this, but I mean I've had fun doing it. I think I'd like to do more.
No, I'd very much like to do it again. I guess we'll talk and see when we can record again and what artists we're going to cover next. I think we have like two or three to look on. But I
Yeah.
think we're going to go with your one next.
I mean, I had an idea for one. I'm not completely sure if I'm gonna go with it because I mean, there are a lot of artists that I really, really like that don't have like a huge, huge following.
Hmm.
But I also have to take into account like some of these artists may appeal more to a certain fan base. I mean, there's some artists like say I decided to talk about a band like Napalm Death. I
Hmm.
love Napalm.
I feel like
But Napalm Death is such a huge metal band. Like, yeah, like most people don't listen to them, but that's
because I
because
was
it's a niche community. But within that niche community, they are huge.
okay. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about the rules of that one. We're
I mean,
going to have to talk about the rules we're following here. Because
well,
I
let's
mean, uh,
make the rules.
what the fucking rules? All right, man. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know how to sign off. Fuck it, go out and listen to some dope music. Give us some suggestions. I don't even know what streaming platforms it's going to be posted on.
Probably YouTube first, just because I feel like that's the easier. But I'd like to put it on Spotify too, at least.
That would be nice. Yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
we'll figure it out as time goes. I'm kind of in a mess and moving, but once I move, I think this will go a hell of a lot smoother.
I mean, hey man, we all get put in fucking quarantine, and we have all the time in the world to figure this shit out.
See, I actually won't. My job is considered an essential job, so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still going in.
I mean, my job is not shutting down, but I did call out sick the other day, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, it wasn't
now
anything.
now they're like, don't bother coming back.
Well, they told me they were like, "Look, we gotta. This is our policy for everything that's going on right now." It's like, all right, you called out sick. When's the last time you didn't show symptoms? It was like, well, this night or whatever. And they're like, yeah, 72 hours from there. So I will be going back.
You wanted to
But
call out one day, they gave you three.
hey, thank God they're letting me use my sick leave early. So that's nice.
Oh, that's a really nice one. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's about all we got for this.
Yep.
So
Like I said, I guess the call out, go out, listen to some dope music, and
let us
get,
know if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, you want to hear us our opinions on. So it's your boy Man Titty and Big Squeezy signing off.
wait, which one am I?
You're Big Squeezy. I'm
Oh,
obviously Man
okay, okay. I
Titty.
did not approve of these names, but sure, whatever. All right,
All right. This was the You Missing Out podcast. Everybody have a nice day.
peace.